So everyone knows that Agents in the Trenches is that space and that place where we come to have those conversations that are real, raw, and that are the reality of Agents in the Trenches. And let me tell you, you are one conversation away from a breakthrough. Literally, I can tell you that because that is exactly what I've experienced, not just in the past, in the present. And I wanted to share this conversation with someone that is very near and dear to my heart. And I wanted you guys to meet her as well because breakthrough comes from those people that we connect with. The problem is that sometimes we either isolate or we think that we can do things alone. But today we're going to be having a conversation on $100,000 conversation and how that connection with that leader, with that game changer, with that visionary can absolutely change everything. So if you're looking for a breakthrough, this episode of Agents in the Trenches is for you. And I want to thank everyone that is joining us live or on replay. Let's go ahead and light up the chat. Let us know where you are coming from. Let us know any questions that you may have. And I'm going to bring up real quick my running partner, John Collins. You guys met him last week. Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Lucy?
Good. Introduce yourself again to everyone. Tell them a little bit about what you do, who you are, and
So I'm the founder of LeadX22, which is an automation company. We're actually put different things together to help make people's lives easier with automation, to save them time and to hopefully generate more revenue. So we have a couple different things that we focus on. We have a community enforced feature where we can offer that to people, and then also reputation management, which is really big, and that's where we basically go in and we help you get more Google reviews, so it moves you up on the Google ranking. So if somebody does a search, that you come up near the top because that's where you want to be. So that's what I do.
All right, John. Well, thank you so much for joining me at Agents in the Trenches. I always like to have a running partner because I think that together we're better. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. So for those of you that are joining us, I see people are hopping on now. Say hello. We'll say hello back. But I don't want to waste any time. I just came from experiencing the power of not $100,000 conversation. I mean, it could be a multi-million-dollar conversation, and how one connection can literally change our careers. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring up than this incredible woman that not only represents the up and coming mainstream economy because she's a Latina, but she also represents that small business owner with a huge, huge vision. Her story is incredible. I appreciate her greatly. And I am so happy that, sometimes we think, how am I going to do this? And I remember my mentor telling me the other day, don't worry about how you're going to do it. Worry about who you need to connect with to get it done. So I want to bring up none other than my dear friend and business partner, Rebecca Soto, to Agents in the Trenches. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hi, thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, let's kick it off. Listen, you know you better than I do. I could stay here the whole time speaking so highly of you. But one thing that I do want to publicly let everyone know is that your heart is the heartbeat of your organization. And the way that you have been able to position yourself as that servant leader is truly, truly, incredible. It's truly inspirational. It's motivational, but most of all, you're a role model. And I admire you for that because, we all have our gifts and our talents, but I think that servanthood and leadership in serving others is definitely your talent. So introduce yourself to everyone that's here and those that are going to be watching on replay.
Thank you for that introduction, Lucy, and I appreciate you so much. And I'm humbled. I'm humbled by that because the truth is, I feel like I am just getting started And sometimes I don't realize my own full potential, and my goal really is just to help more people. But I've been in the industry for about 19 years now, and I am in the Central Florida area. And my focus now is, after so many years in real estate, is really just coaching and leading agents, and mentoring them and helping them build their business. And so really that's all I've been focused on. My husband and I worked together this whole 19 years together. We wrote a book called Married in Real Estate, where we just talk about our journey and all the pitfalls that we through and how we bounced back from it. So hoping that it would help others in their journey as well. So I'm just happy to be here and be able to share just a little bit about what I know, and hope that it helps other agents.
So, Agents in the Trenches started almost 2 years ago. It's one of those things that I've done consistently in my mission to make an impact, first and foremost, right? And I have to confess that in many ways, I've been one of those people that shrinks back, that isolates. One of those people that, even though I know that our network is our net worth, even though that we know that being in the right rooms is important, knowing the things that we all know. I mean, it's like we could sit here and just beat ourselves up with, why do I do the things I know I'm not supposed to do when I've been told the things I'm supposed to do and I don't do them? But I wanted to bring you on because I wanted you, someone that has been in the right room, someone that has, like you told me this past week, I want you to elaborate on, you said, Lucy, even if I'm not invited, I make sure I get there. And that's why I thought this conversation was so appropriate for you to spearhead this next level, this next season of Agents in the Trenches, because we're going national, because we're breaking down the walls, because we really want to go above and beyond what we've done so far. So break that down for us and tell us a little bit about, how did you do that? Because a lot of times the limiting beliefs, the limiting thoughts, the woe is me, my problems, nobody understands, it really gets to us.
That's a great question. And one of the things that you said that stood out to me is that sometimes we shrink back, right? But what I've learned is you serve no one when you shrink yourself back. And, for me getting started, I don't think I put too much thought into it. I saw an opportunity where there was an organization I was a part of, and they were struggling a little bit to get attendance to their events. And I said, well, how can I help? So I just came with a heart of rolling up my sleeves. Let's get to work. I wasn't looking for a position. I wasn't looking to have a spotlight on myself. I just wanted to help add value. And I didn't particularly have a specialization, a skill that would make me a cut above anyone else. I just said, what do I need to do? And then just said, you know what, I'll learn what I need to do. So just really don't think about it. Just get in, get started. Find a what is it, an area that needs help, and see how you can serve. And that literally is how I got started. And from that, I just loved the organization I was working with. I got more involved. As I got involved, I started learning about leadership and growth and how to grow this particular chapter we were working with. And in that process, personally, let me just tell you that one of my weaknesses is networking. And at least back then, especially, I was painfully shy. I would get anxiety and nervous. And I just, for some reason, it was very awkwardly uncomfortable for me to be in those situations. But putting myself in this position where I'm helping, where I just want to bring value, and now I'm helping to grow this organization, put me in a place where I had to network. I didn't think about, oh, let me go out and network. Now I'm just doing it. And I'm meeting people amazing people. And it's how I met you, Lucy. So, you were opening up a chapter and they said, let's go, just support them. I'm not even in your marketplace, but I said, I'm there. Let's go. Let's meet the amazing people of Cape Coral, Fort Myers. And so from Orlando, we drove down there and we were just not there to do anything but support. And I met you there and so many other amazing agents. And I started doing more of that. We went down to Naples when they opened their chapter and then started traveling throughout the US. And I met a lot of amazing people. So without intending to go out and grow my network, I went out and grew my network. Grew out my network and met an amazing family of agents nationwide.
Wow. What do you think about that, John? Any thoughts or questions that come to mind for Rebecca? I know you guys are seeing each other for the first time, but it's inspirational.
Well, just I love the part about looking for opportunities, because very often opportunities are all around us, and we just have to open our eyes up and start looking for them, and then we start finding them. So I think that's great advice for anybody who's in business, whether it's real estate or any other business.
So I wanted to ask you a question, Rebecca. I know that you just gave an illustration of how serving, right, without needing an invitation, without being told, hey, can you come and help us? You just gave an illustration, and without pay and without, probably even, okay, I'm going to give my time. What am I going to get out of this? But you just did it. Elaborate for us a little bit about how, how you really got yourself to overcome that scarcity mindset, because one of the things that I've gotten out of being in this last room, and every time that I go and I'm in the room where I'm the one that knows the least, is, man, this scarcity mindset is so powerful. It creeps up on us and we don't even realize it. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a little bacteria. Like a little bacteria, right, John?
Exactly. Yes.
And we don't even know. It's like, before you know it, we are in the midst of scarcity mindset. What would you tell people with what you know?
Yes, I love this question. I love this question because we did get a lot of people who would say, I want to participate, but what am I going to get out of this? And I'm thinking, what are you going to get out of it? How about thinking about what you could put into it? Because the truth of the matter is there is no immediate ROI that you can see. It's not like I give, 2 hours of my time and I'm going to for sure get a referral or for sure get a this or that, the other. You don't know what you're going to get. You may not get anything immediately, but what you do get is exposure. What you do get is by leading and serving from the heart, you connect with people, and people then will want to follow you, right? And I wasn't looking for those things. I was not looking for those things, but it just naturally happens because when you're giving from the heart, people can see that, right? A client can see if you genuinely want to work with them as a realtor and serve them and get the best for them, or if you just have commission breath and all you want is to chase, let me sell your home, and and you're just interested in the commission at the end of it. They can genuinely see that. But people can see that in all areas of our life. Are you genuinely giving from the heart? Now, if you're genuinely giving from the heart, I do those things for free, right? I do those things without even twice, and I don't feel like I'm working. Now, I'll be honest, in the moment, I was not looking for a return on my investment. I genuinely just wanted to serve. And I felt like what I was getting back at the time was learning more. So I wanted to surround myself with other leaders. And then I realized that some of the rooms that we were getting into had other top performing leaders. And so I want to be, have you ever wanted to be a fly on the wall of a room where there's high level conversations?
Yes,
That's
girl.
what I was getting access to. So I said, okay, well, let me start. You know what? Let me wait the tables, right? Because I just want to hear what's happening in those rooms.
Let me serve you water.
Yes.
Let me be your server, your servant. Just,
Yes.
let me
I'm
just.
happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. But the thing is that when you show up and when you are giving from the heart, opportunities do come. And I do remember early on, we were, because Josue and I both served in this organization, we had made a really deep connection with one of the leaders. And again, not expecting anything in return. And at one of the events, he had brought a guest with him. And he says, "Oh, you know what?" He was saying to his friend, "I need you to meet with Josh and Rebecca because they're in the Orlando area. They were from Miami, and they're in the Orlando area, and they can help you with what we were talking about." I have no idea what they were talking about, and I said, "Absolutely. Here's our number. Let's talk." And now I have no idea what they want to talk about. And that conversation turned out to be a investor that was purchasing properties in our market and wanted to work with a local realtor. So we ended up listing, 30 plus homes for that particular investor. So what can you get out of it? What's the ROI? I can't put my finger on it, but if you show up, opportunities will be there. And it could be a complete different opportunity. You just have to go. You just have to meet people. You have to be kind to them. You have to get to know them genuinely. And how do we help them? What are we doing for them? It could be a plethora of anything, really. When I talk to people, it's like I'm just listening to them. What's happening in your life? How's your business going? And, as you get to know people, they start to share stuff with you. And so there's opportunity where if I know maybe something that can potentially help their business, I want to share that with them. I genuinely want to see people succeed. And it doesn't matter if they're in my same company. Doesn't matter if they're an agent on my team or if they're on someone else's team. I literally just took a couple minutes before joining this live from an agent who has now moved on to another company. And I'm just reassuring her, listen, we'll always be friends. I always want to see you succeed. It doesn't matter where you go,
Wow. Not only motivational and inspirational, but impactful. I mean, we all need to hear your message. We all need to hear this. John, what are your thoughts on this? Chime in, John.
Well, I wanted to ask a question for people that are new in the industry and might be struggling. Have you ever been in a position where you struggled with scarcity mentality, and how did you overcome that scarcity mentality to move forward?
As a new agent. So I guess everyone is different. I guess when I came in, just like a lot of agents, the scarcity mindset might be that you're working another job and you're afraid to let go of that job to start this new career. And where are you going to put the extra time, especially if you're balancing family? And so how do you make that leap? And that's a question that I get a lot. And the truth is, you do have to throw balance out the window in the beginning. You're not going to be able to juggle all those things evenly, but there is a way to harmonize. And so you may have to put a little extra time in real estate while you're still working, 8-hour days. But if you put in the work, it might be a short-term pain that you're going through of putting extra hours in real estate, but it will pay off. And as far as, your family goes, your family, if they know what your goals are, they'll support you through that as long as you remember, you keep the time in there for them as well, right? So I would tell my kids, okay, mommy's got to work tonight. Daddy's going to tuck you into bed, but tomorrow we're going to do this together. And then you do it, right? Mm-hmm. So as long as you have these things in place and your family understands, they don't mind. They don't mind giving up a little time here because they know they can look forward to, we're going out for ice cream on the weekend, or we're going to do something special together. They want to see you win, and you're leading by example. You're giving them a good example of what it's like to work hard towards something that, you know, they know the end goal was mommy's going to let go of her day job because then I'll have more time with you for your activities and your things. And so this is exactly what happened, right? So after about a year of juggling this way, then we were able to leave our daytime jobs. And so now we're full-time, and we have been full-time real estate agents for the past 18 years, right? So, you know, everyone has to start somewhere. And sometimes it's hard to let go of something, but what are you willing to do to be able to launch that next level of you, right?
Right. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, and it's something that I witnessed while I was sitting there in that room. And you said something so impactful. And I think we need to go deeper on this, because sometimes our ego or our own humanism or our addiction to worrying, right? Tony Robbins says we all have a flavor of stress that we love. And it reminded me of my mentor for 20 years. This man was addicted to worrying.
Mm.
He could be having the best year and he would be worrying. He could be having the worst problem and he would still be worrying. Everything could be going right. It didn't matter. The man was addicted to worrying. And Tony Robbins says we all have a flavor of stress that we love.
I think he also called it your emotional home.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I witnessed something, and because you said, you know, go serve water, go wait the table. For the people that are at a much higher level, go be a fly on the wall. Like, you don't have to be the one in the spotlight. And I love when you said that earlier, because I witnessed it. I want everybody to know, and those of you that are watching, go share this live, go invite your friends. This is universal principles, my friends. This is universal. It applies to absolutely every human on the planet. We all suffer from scarcity mindset, and I'll prove it to you. I was there. I showed up. You invited me. I overcame my scarcity mindset. I overcame all the little crazy thoughts and conversations that my brain came up with, right? That's why Tony Robbins says, tell your brain to shut up.
Spanish or English?
My brain is bilingual. My brain is bilingual. So you invited me, and I was, but my heart said, and everyone can go see my post. I dedicated a post to Rebecca, and I said, you've been part of some of my defining moments. And I went back and I remembered the first time I met you when you came to the pre-launch of the NAREP Cape Coral Fort Myers chapter, which I was founding. And then you showed up at my office one day and invited me to be your business partner, along with that incredible group of other, you know, thought leaders and visionaries. And I said, you know what, this mastermind, this is going to be a defining moment, and it has been. But I had to overcome all these crazy, limiting, scarcity belief thoughts. But I witnessed you, and I observed you being that servant leader, you being the one. So I want to ask you this question, Rebecca, because this is going to be profound, and I know that it's going to help people at all levels, of all walks, of all economic, frontiers. Tell us the art. You have an art for providing value to high-level people. I overheard a conversation, not that it was secret. There was this very high-level performer having a conversation with you, and I observed how you served him and you helped him in the organizing of a future event that's coming up. And I'm like, wow. She is just sitting here serving someone, not asking how much am I going to get paid, not asking, do you know how busy I am? Do you know how tired I am? Because you didn't even sleep the night before. And now that you talk about I'll just be the fly on the wall. I just want to hear what these high level performers do because I know that will impact my life, my family, my future, my finances, my legacy. And I'm like, and I watched her do it. Illustrate, dissect that for us because we all need to have some Rebecca in our brain and in our heart.
Well, I think what's that saying? Say we are some of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So I'm always looking to see who else, who higher than me can I surround myself with. And typically, if I'm trying to get into a high level room and I'm probably not at the level yet to deserve to be in the room, then I'm just looking to see how I can serve so that I can be in there. And so, like I mentioned, or like you mentioned earlier, that I had told you, we want to get in those rooms where, you know, maybe you don't feel like you deserve to be in that room, or you haven't been invited. And so look for the opportunity that you can just get in there. Ask. Don't be afraid, right? What's the worst that could happen? That they say no? Who cares? But get in the room. Don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back. Just get in. But you know what I also noticed, that for a lot of visionary leaders, they have great ideas and plans, but they haven't necessarily thought of the steps to get there. And so if we could be that integrator, right? If we think of rocket fuel, that, you know, your visionary, every visionary needs an integrator. So never think of yourself less than. Think about, okay, how can I add that value to that leader? What's that vision he has, and how can I help them get there? Because oftentimes they start flying the plane and they haven't built the plane yet. So you start seeing the little pieces that you're like, oh shoot, wait, they haven't done this. Let me fill in that gap, right? What's the gap? If you think of, you know, the blue ocean strategies, where's the blue ocean? Don't go into the red ocean where everybody's at, where everybody's doing the same thing. Where is that one little thing where you can make an impact, where you can make a difference?
And I watched you do that. John, isn't this powerful? I mean,
Absolutely.
you're hearing from someone that is actually practicing what she is preaching, and I witnessed it. And I mean, just that's why we're talking today about $100,000 conversation, you know, and $100,000 conversation, and we're one connection away, but you're giving it yet another layer, which is go serve someone at a higher level. Go serve someone that is at a higher level. Break that down for us again, because our neurons need to capture this. Go serve someone at a higher level because
every visionary needs an integrator. And so, you know, again, they have ideas, and high D personalities, high visionaries, they have 10, 20 ideas. They want to pull triggers on all of them. And so sometimes it even helps to say, you know what, let's pick the top 2 of all those ideas you have. Let's pick the top 2.
There's another name for that, Rebecca. It's called the shiny object syndrome. And every new thing that comes along, they want to grab it and say, we're going to do this, or we're going to do this. And it's like, slow down.
Right.
Perfect what you have here. Let's perfect this. And we'll put that on the plan for next quarter. But I see so many entrepreneurs that I just want to scream and say, stop chasing the shiny object.
John, I love what you're saying. And I think also, like, if you think about what your initial goals are, you have to stop and think about, is this idea going to bring me closer to my goal? And so pick 1 or 2 things that are actually going to bring you closer to that goal, and master that, and then move on to the next one. Absolutely. But again, every visionary that has a plan or has a high vision is going to need people along the way to help them execute on those things. And so I'm just always that person that's looking to help out. But also I noticed that this industry can feel very lonely, especially if you're a leader, if you're a broker, because you don't have someone that you can talk to bounce ideas from. You're not going to do that with your agents, right?
Right.
So everybody needs someone that they can confide in. That's going to be a safe place for them, that they could share, what their struggles are, their challenges. And so by listening to what these challenges are, you're identifying ways that you could be there, be that light for them, be the, help them with, with a piece of advice, or maybe just point them in the right direction. But sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. That could mean the difference of helping them, relieve their stress, let go of worries.
Rebecca, you mentioned something, and I think it's real important. You mentioned high D, and there's a test out there to tell you what you are, and I would highly suggest many people take it. It's called the DISC.
Yes.
And you have different people, and every high D probably needs a high I. And so have you obviously have taken the DISC test. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And so every person has, how would you explain it, Rebecca? The tendencies and profiles and strengths. And you take this test, and I think if you go online, I think it's $49, but it will tell you.
I can send everyone a link for free if anyone wants.
That's great.
Yes, if anyone watching right now DMs me profile, right, or my profile or profile, I'll send you a link. You could take it for free. It's part of a service that I pay.
I love it.
Because we all need to know our strengths and our weaknesses.
Exactly. Learn what your strengths are, and then surround yourself with people where your weaknesses are, and that way we bring each other up.
John, absolutely. Another great point there. The DISC profile test, I think, is brilliant. And there's a lot of different tests out there. I feel like that one's like the most simplistic one that helps you understand your character traits and where you're dominating and where your strengths are. And it breaks down to you things that your strengths and things that you're maybe going to be a little have a blind spot to. But the good thing about it is that it helps you understand, again, more about yourself, but who you'll probably work well with, right? So for the high Ds, those people have a dominance type of character. They are high visionaries. They are natural born leaders, and they make quick decisions, maybe impulsive. And to each one of these traits, there could be good and evil, right? So it depends on what side of the spectrum you want to be on, but they are, they're going for their goals, and they don't even think about the consequences. They're off and running.
We need the visionary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So to give us, it's redundant, to give us the vision of what it will look like when we build it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yeah. So go ahead, Rebecca. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for adding that value. Your high eyes are people of influence. They're people persons, and they don't mind being in the spotlight, and they're super warm and friendly, and they're energetic, they're high energy, and they're usually not caught up in the details. So neither the D's or the I's are caught up in the details of stuff. And then your S, and this is just following DISC, right? DISC. So your S stands for like steadiness and systems, and these people, they love the rules, and they don't mind working behind a computer, and so they're not necessarily people person. Not that they're not friendly, but that's not what drives them. And but they like the steadiness of a 9 to 5 and knowing for certain this is what we're going to do every day, day in, day out, right? And they probably would make, I don't even want to limit them to what they would be good at, but the C's are calculated. These people, they they'll do researches, and they do deep research, and they know their numbers and data, and they're hardly ever wrong because they've done all the research on things. And so but they're also not usually people persons either. They're a little bit more tucked away, that maybe more a little introverted, right? And all of us have variations of all these qualities. We might
Yes.
have a little bit of everything, but we may have also some strengths in some other areas where we may be higher in D, or we might be higher in this C. And so knowing this, we understand a little bit about ourselves. We understand the type of complementing characteristics that we could work with, and we all need each other, right? So each one of these character types are important and help us to better work together, because where one is strong, there is going to be a weakness that the other character type can fill.
And it helps us understand the other person as well.
Yeah.
And what motivates them and what frustrates us sometimes is what they're good at. So, like visionaries are very hard on S's like me, because they're always going, and we want steady. We want a plan. Can you relate to this, Lucy?
Oh my goodness. I'm getting a revelation here. I'm getting a revelation. And this is so profound, because everyone that's watching now, we've got different people coming in and out, and people commenting and saying hi. And, we're talking about that $100,000 conversation, because we are one connection away from a breakthrough, right?
Yes.
One person that comes into our life, like Rebecca did for me this past week or last week, and said, hey, you should come. Actually, a month ago, and then a week, talk about living by the seat of your pants. A month ago, she invites me, and I say, yes. Oh my God, yes, Lucy. You said this year you were going to be more connected. You said this year you were going to get every door that opened, you were going to go through it, right? And so I get busy with my day-to-day, because I never stop. And so then a week ago, she's like, you're coming, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? But I remembered my commitment to myself. I will walk through every door that opens up for me, no matter what. If it opens, and then, that one conversation we had has led into, it's up to me, right? Because we're the ones at the end of the day that make the action, and we make things happen. But it could be $1 million conversation, that invitation you gave me. So yes, John, it's a revelation, because I was telling some of my staff today, I'm very vulnerable with my staff, and I've learned to be very transparent, and I've learned to let them know that, listen, you know how I am. So if you know how I am, then don't put me in those spaces that I can't handle. So in line with what John is saying, it's like, the high D's make us S's become very, what did you say? Very like uncomfortable. I'm like, then don't make a D uncomfortable.
But it takes a balance of both, because
it is.
The D has to understand the strength of the S and the I, and vice versa. And
yes.
And that's when the magic happens.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So I want to go a little bit deeper. We have about 5 minutes left. I'm going to say Veronica, because I was thinking of how you have served someone at such a higher level through your serving, right? But I wanted to ask you this question, because this question is really important, and we all need to learn from this. Tell us how you have positioned yourself to have the right conversations with people in those rooms, in those, moments of you saying, I'm going to be a fly on the wall. I'm just going to get in the room. I'm going to serve. I'll serve the water. I'll wipe down the tables, whatever. But I also watched how you have mastered the art of having the right conversation. And why do I say that? Because a lot of times we're there, but we don't make things happen. We don't come up to the person and engage in the conversation. We don't, step up to the plate and, dare to ask the question. Tell us a little bit about how you've experienced doing it, because I'm sure you've done it many times. I saw you do it. It's having the right conversation when you're in that room. How do you do that?
Well, Lucy, you give me a lot of credit, but I don't know. I think that I do a lot of things that scare me. And at the end of it, I say, if I am shrinking myself back, I serve no one, and I certainly don't serve myself. So and I already told you, I get anxiety when I go into networking situations. Even though I'm well past those days, I still have to fight that girl that has anxiety to be the more outgoing person. But I think by now I know that people who are operating at a high level, they get turned off by any kind of negativity. So for certain, you're not going to be sharing all your fears and all your setbacks, because they don't care. So what are the conversations? Well, you just have to come from a place of being open. Don't be afraid to approach them and say hello. And by the way, I think this is across the board. Most people are waiting for you to say hello first. So if you're in a networking situation, be the first person to say hello. Don't be afraid, because we're all waiting. And it's like, what are we waiting for? Just say hi. Just say hi. Extend your hand, say hello, my name is, and where are you from? Where are you out of? Awesome. Oh my gosh, I know some agents in that area. Tell me about more about your business. Ask them about themselves. Everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? But I start listening to the conversations, and I just see where I feel I could bring some value, or maybe I'm just receiving, right? Maybe I'm just asking them more about something they were just talking about. Maybe I saw them online and they were talking about a topic, and I bring it up. So be observant, be a good listener. But if you're already in a room of people that you've already seen or heard of before, what have you seen them do that you could ask them about? So I think they're all great tips, but at the very least, let's say you don't know anyone and you haven't heard any conversations yet, just smile and be friendly and meet everyone in the room. And the other thing I like to do, because I know that sometimes that can be a painful experience for some people, it is kind of threatening when you walk into a room where you don't know anyone. And then so what I try to do is, if I'm the person that knows everyone, I'm trying to introduce you to the people that I already know. Hey, do you know so-and-so? And I don't just make a name introduction. This is Lucy. She's out of Cape Coral. She's an amazing top producer out there, and she's a mindset coach and is doing great things out in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and Columbia. And so this opens up conversations that the other person can then say, oh, wow, you're doing stuff in Columbia? Tell me more about that, right? And so I give them a little background, hoping that I could spark a conversation. And likewise, I'll do the same about them. This is so-and-so,
Right.
out of Wisconsin, and they're leading an organization of this. And so this way you also have something that you can draw from to kind of create a conversation for the two of you that you can talk about. Or if I already know something that about each one of you that I think you guys need to know each other, because I just make that known. I like to be that person. I like to be a connector. I like to just kind of ease that, because I know that can be a tough thing for people. So be that person, that lighthouse for someone else, to help them get to meet someone else. And you just don't know who you're going to meet in the room. We're talking about $100,000 conversation. I don't know that I've met that person yet. And so I've met a lot of amazing people, and I'm still looking to meet that next amazing superstar that we can partner up with, be friends, or just know each other. So I just want to be a friend in the industry. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, I'm here. I'm an open book.
What do you think, John? Any last thoughts?
Just a great conversation today.
Yes.
I just really enjoyed it. Enjoyed meeting Rebecca. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
You know what? For those of you that joined us maybe late, go watch the replay. Go share this with someone. We all need to learn from that other person that is out there being that connector. One of the things that I love the most, Rebecca, is you talked about every visionary needs an implementer, an executor, someone that will take whatever they're thinking of doing and implement it. for that visionary that's out there that doesn't have that implementer, you being around such high level performers, you being the one that has positioned yourself to, spark those conversations and really serve at a higher level, not watching what the ROI is going to be, not even, staying in your comfort zone, because you just said something very interesting. You get anxious when you are among, those networking environments. And I've had people that are like my right hand saying, oh my God, I don't know how you do it. I need to go decompress. I feel anxiety because we've been around people like for 3 days. And I'm like, this person's not normal. No,
That happens.
because
That's a real
obviously
thing.
that's not
That's a
me.
real thing. Usually the SCs, if they are in a networking situation, they'll be there, and then they feel like they need 3 days off to to decompress from what just happened.
Isn't that crazy? How do you recommend that connection being made? We all have implementers, and we all have, and it's hard. It's hard when you're a visionary because people can't keep up with you. It's hard when you're a visionary because you're looking for the better good of everyone, and everyone's just like focusing on what's not working while you're trying to keep your mind strong on what is working, right? And you're that driving force. From your perspective, what's your best recommendation? What do you say
Okay, so the question is for the high visionary, high D
for those two
personality.
people, right? You've got those high visionaries that are thinking about the next best thing. They're thinking about everyone and how we can all win.
Yeah.
But then, like the high
So
S's,
some of the pitfalls, I'm sorry to cut you off. Some of the
Go ahead.
pitfalls for a high D would be that they are so focused on their goal, and they don't want anyone else to ruin that for them. And it's hard sometimes to accept other people helping them, and they want to do it all by themselves. Or they've tried to work, let's say, with a team, and they got frustrated because they didn't have the patience to work with that team. So I think for that high D person, you have to come to terms and decide that you're going to allow people to help you, that people are going to mess up, and that you need to have a little bit of patience, right? And that's the hard part, because the patience is not a strong suit for them. But just allowing yourself to be patient and go through the process, and also just read some books about it, because there's so much written on that to help you expand your mind.
Here's the other frustration, though, that can very easily happen to the team, is that a high D is always looking to build the project, and at times when a high D walks in and they have a new idea, those high S's or high I's are like frustrated because we haven't even finished the last great idea you had, and now you want to put this idea, and they always feel like they never reach completion.
Right.
And so I would say for the high Ds, which I cherish the high Ds because they are the visionaries, is remember that the things that you love might frustrate part of your team, and like we said before, finish that project, finish whatever it is. Let's get it to completion. Let's launch it, and then we'll go on to your next great idea, which we like. And so that I think is kind of the struggle that happens inside an organization sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll ever solve that 100%. And I think that there's room for all of it, and it really depends on if they're setting up the systems for it, because for our S's and C's, we need them, right? We need people who are steady or doing the work, and they just steadily go through and want to do the research on things. But if we relied on that and doing things to perfection or waiting to finish stuff, then we would start lagging behind and we wouldn't get anything done.
Exactly.
Right? So we need those ideas that push us, that push us out of our comfort zone sometimes. And maybe you're working on one project and there's another team of people working on the next project.
Yes.
But in their
Yes.
mind, you have the capacity to keep like pushing out these new ideas. And sometimes they need someone that gives them, maybe there's a safe word we use when we need them to kind of slow down and say, okay, wait, hold on. Our team can't quite take on this next project. You know, let's just wait a little bit more on that. Sometimes they need that person too in their life. But I think there's a harmony that we can work with. I think we all have to be open to be patient with each other. And not try to hold each other back, and more think about, okay, how could we execute on this? Let's talk about what that looks like. And so if we can come up with a game plan, it might be able to work. But I think it's always about that game plan.
And I think that's important, Rebecca. And what I always try to recommend to people is have a 3, 6, and 1 year plan. And so that everybody, including the high D, knows what the plan is. Yes, you can pivot off of that plan when you need to, but you need to have that overall roadmap of where you're going. And large organizations do that. I mean, Elon Musk, I mean, I'm sure his company has that type of planning in place of, this is our next project, this is where we're going.
Well, it doesn't look like Elon Musk is waiting to finish one thing before he starts the next. Lately. So I don't know.
He doesn't have a high S. He needs a high S.
You know,
I think having their checks and balances. And so, what's the vision? Are the things that we're doing getting us closer to the vision? Is what you're introducing now going to distract us? And so having these conversations, again, if we're leading at a high level, we're having monthly meetings, maybe weekly meetings, where we're looking at the budget, where we're looking at our goals. And so if we are re-examining and making sure that we are continuously moving towards those goals, then I think that if we're allowing ourselves to have those conversations, and we are coachable, where if it doesn't make sense, we allow ourselves to kind of take that step back before pulling the trigger on the next idea, then we're going to be all right.
Great. And understanding of everybody on the team, and I think that's where it comes from. But Lucy's very good about having meetings and trying to keep everybody on the same page. That's where Lucy excels at. So.
This has been a powerful, powerful conversation. I mean, I think just in the things that you've shared, Rebecca, here with everyone, this has been $100,000 conversation.
I agree.
Because collectively, everyone that's watching is going to walk away with a huge value, hearing it from someone that, we talked about how you are serving leaders that are in another level, right? You're serving high-level leaders, and you shared with us why you do that. You said, I do that because I want to get to their level, and I want to be in the rooms where they are. You shared with us your heart of serving, which is, I will serve the water, I will wipe down the tables, I'm not worried about my ROI. I'll just know that if I can learn from them, I'm going to grow. You shared with us about, you feel awkward. You have those scarcity thoughts just like I do, like we all do, right? And then you feel anxious being surrounded by so many people. And now you're closing it out with bringing that fourth side of equilibrium. Yes, if the D's went one idea at a time, my goodness, we'd be back who knows when. I mean, I know for a fact, you know, when I look at these other supreme level, like high performance visionaries, I mean, they're talking about, if it doesn't work, break it, start it over, put it again. I mean, right now you turn on the news and you see these high level visionaries going from one thing to the next. But that also is what keeps us evolving. And I think if we don't evolve, the D's, we have to grow more patient. The S's, you need to level up. You know, the C's, I'm going to say what Rene Rodriguez said for the C's, for my S's and my C's. He said, awkwardness is a requirement for growth. If you don't feel awkward, if I'm not uncomfortable, having to breathe deep to be more patient, and if you're not uncomfortable having to breathe deep to keep up with me, we're not growing.
Exactly.
We're not growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we're not growing. And Renee Rodriguez, a prolific, you know, mentor, teacher, trainer, coach that we were listening to, he said awkwardness is a requirement for growth. Like if you are not feeling awkward, you're not growing.
Yeah.
So, Rebecca, I could not thank you more, especially for accepting this impromptu. You know, it's an impromptu invitation, but I think that you have spearheaded this Agents in the Trenches going nationally in such a profound and valuable and impactful way. I want to give you a couple of minutes to close us out. Speak to us from the heart. Speak to our audience from the heart. We all need to learn from you. You're invaluable in so many ways. And I thank you so much for your friendship, your love, your respect, and mostly your leadership.
What a blessing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity. And I think that what you said just now was so pivotal, is that we can't be afraid of being uncomfortable. So allow yourself to be put in rooms or places where you are uncomfortable. Do the uncomfortable thing. That one thing that you are resisting is probably the thing that you need to do that is on the other side of your success or your happiness. So go ahead and allow yourself to stretch. And if you don't have people around you that help to stretch you and to push you to those uncomfortable things that are going to lead you to grow, then find your tribe. Find that group of people that is going to help you be there. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to help you reach that next level, to unlock that next level of you. But it starts with you. So what can you do? You can start reading books. And what books? Which books? Well, what is it that you want to learn more about? There's a million books on so many different parts of leadership or branding or social media. It's all out there. And if you need some guidance, you can always reach out to us. Lucy's amazing, and I'm always here to serve as well. John, you've been amazing on this call. I'm so glad to have been able to meet you. So I hope that I could get invited back and have more conversations.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes.
And that is it for this episode of Agents in the Trenches, where we come to talk about the real, raw realities of everybody in the real estate industry, not just agents, but I think agents are the catalyst for every deal we make in real estate. And we affect so many other industries, and that's what makes us powerful. So thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one. And in the meantime, you go out there and get real awkward, get out of your comfort zone, and scale your life and business. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.